those watching and listening around the world. This is Shelor Select.
We'll just start going from there.
All right,
ladies and gentlemen, we got long time comer of the podcast, John Dub is here as always, and first time, Adam Rivera. Did I say that right?
I think
Rivera.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. There you go.
There you go.
You got it right.
That makes more sense. Do you want to introduce yourself or do anything weird like that? Usually I hate doing those. I usually just like making it. Let's just start bullshitting and go ahead. But that's your choice.
No,
At least
mate, I don't really have an introduction. I don't know what you want me to say.
I don't know.
You can ask me questions.
Okay, that's fine.
So
I didn't know if you want to give.
Questions.
I didn't know if you want to give somebody a background. Just whatever. Usually I don't like doing those because it makes it too. More formal, and not just like it's just sitting down bullshitting and going from there. So.
Adam Rivera. I'm probably the best looking Puerto Rican guy that both of you guys have seen in your life. Happy to join you.
The best Puerto Rican guy I've ever seen in my life. All right.
Best looking
Puerto Rican guy.
I mean, he was going to give you best, so I wouldn't even give you best. Looking,
So are you born and bred in Puerto Rico?
Yep.
Oh. So how'd you come over to the States?
There's this wonderful machinery called airplanes, and you buy tickets for them.
Oh man, that technology.
No. I moved shortly after high school, about 19, almost 19.
Okay. And which part did you move to?
Roanoke, Virginia.
Ah.
Southwest Virginia. Yeah.
Well, how'd you meet up with John Dub over here?
John and I met, actually, believe it or not, we met online. So it's kind of a nerd love story there.
Oh, well, this sounds like a good love story.
Yeah.
We don't get too many of these.
First, I think, didn't we?
So we didn't realize we worked together until after we'd met. Virtually.
Yeah. We were playing a game called Hounds. It was a mech game. To this day, probably the best online experience ever, honestly. And we played for some time together, and then we realized that, like, holy shit, it's like we work in the same company.
So Chrome Hounds was the game?
Yeah.
What is? I've never heard of this. What is it?
Oh, it's Xbox 360. It's a mech game, kind of super customizable. You build your mech from the ground up, like literally every piece. Super strategic. It was like 5v5 or 6v6, John.
66.
Yeah. And it was like this persistent online type of server. So it was kind of like a weird, it's kind of like an MMO actually, because it's very persistent. And a lot of us played on there for like years before we met in person.
It was if you think about what's that game? Risk. So basically there's 3 countries, and you and your squad would sign up with a country, and you were trying to do battles, and depending on how your battle turned out, would there be tiny pocketed areas that would either become part of your country's control, or you would lose control if you kept losing. And we were usually, if we won or if we joined the particular group, that group won.
Yeah. We were very good at it. We had, I think we hit like top 25 squads.
It was either top, at least 25. I was thinking at one point we were like top 10.
That's in the world?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
We were steady, but
we were loyal to the Neuromius War for sure.
Yeah.
Well, so what happened? So y'all just decided all to meet up in person one day?
Man, how did we meet, John?
I think you did so there was is GameStop-ish kind of group called Replay Games and DVD. Started out as, I think, not Hollywood Video. What was the video site?
Movie Stars.
Yeah, so Movie Stars opened up, and they're like, hey, we want to do GameStop, come in, trade in movies, video games, we resell, stuff like that. Well, so I'm working at Radford with my buddy Scott, and
at
all
Replay.
Of a sudden, this dude, at Replay.
I remember now. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
So
okay, I remember
this dude
Replay.
shows up, and Scott's like, oh yeah, it's my coworker, and he starts talking. I was like, wait, what was your gamer tag? It was
Hellspawn 23.
Hellspawn, yeah. And I was like, Hellspawn, and he's like, Sasquatch? There was, but
so y'all just randomly walked into a place and y'all were there. Y'all didn't even plan it.
No. I was working and he was coming to work because we both worked for Replay.
So you both worked there. Okay.
So I'm working and he comes in as a part of like his audit, reviewing all the equipment and stuff. And then we're like, wait. So there you go.
Is that like fate bringing you two together?
Pretty much.
I mean, he's loved me ever since. It's only awkward when the women talk about it because they put stuff together too haphazardly, in my opinion.
The women, huh?
The women.
Yeah. It's but yeah, it was man, it was a good times actually in that game.
Yep.
So this is 360. So that was, how old were y'all?
Oh shit, man! It was. I looked up the game the other day. What was it? It was like 15 years ago.
20? Yeah, because I was like 19, 20 at the time, and maybe 21, maybe. Yeah, I sent a link over.
So this been about 2009, 2010.
Yeah, right there about, because it was. If it wasn't a launch title, it was in the launch window for 360. So it was very, very old.
It was the reason I bought a 360.
Yeah. Oh,
Gears was actually,
it wasn't Gears 2?
No, that was way before. Yeah, 2006 actually was the date when it was. Oh my God, it's been a long time.
Yeah. So, yeah, we were younger, arguably less handsome. Man, then.
Oh, of course, we are now. Definitely, yeah. Look at what y'all have grown into after these 10 or 11 years or whatever it's been.
Oh, yeah.
15 years.
So do y'all believe in fate and stuff like that just randomly happening and random acts of occurrence just making people come together? Do you think that's just something that just happens, or is it just stupid dumb luck?
Yeah, I think it's more like what's his name? Like Jeff Goldblum's character in Jurassic Park. What did he say about that? Like chaos. It's like that. So it's just random events, series of random events. So,
Lemony Snicket style.
Yeah. Not unfortunate events, but although sometimes.
I don't know. Sometimes I wonder that if there's a reason this just happened, or if it was just literally dumb luck. But it's like if there's a reason for this happen, and you never see them again in your life, but do they have some impact on your life, and you just
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe like the cosmos was thinking about, hey, you need a big burly country white dude in your life. Let me put him in the store for you.
Yeah, but then you had like two. So I show up and I was like, shit, Adam has a type. I don't remember who that other dude was. Not Travis, but Kevin, wasn't it?
At your store? At the
no, not at the store, but
talking about Josh.
Josh Lott?
Yeah, Josh, that was it.
Yeah.
Josh Lott?
Not Lott. Well, him too at some point.
Oh, shout out Josh Lott.
No, I'm talking about the big guy.
Shout out to Josh. Long time since we talked, man.
No, I don't know the other guy you're talking about then.
Josh Mallock was his name.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think I ever met him.
He was a good dude.
Yeah.
So what happened after Replay? Y'all just started living life and just moved on, but still kept in touch through video games, or? Yeah,
pretty much. After the company pretty much went under. Yeah, and then but shortly after that, I went into the Navy and started working in healthcare, and that's pretty much. Then went back to school and did the college thing, and here we are.
How was the Navy?
How was the Navy?
Yeah, I thought you were the second person I know that's joined up.
It was the Navy. It was good. It was a great experience. I think it if anything, I would have liked to have done it sooner. That because I was in mid 20s at least when I joined. So,
well, what made you want to join up?
I've always wanted to do it anyway. My family has a long tradition of military service. My parents met in the Army. Their parents before that, they were in the military. Like, it's a lot of generational participation there. And at that point in time, I got laid off and figured it was time. It's like, this is a sign. So I went to actually went to the army first.
Okay.
And I wanted just one job, and I wanted intelligence. I didn't want to do anything else. And the army was gonna sign me up, but they didn't have a bonus. So I went and talked to my boy. Shout out to Sam Brown.
Sambo.
And they were like, "Hey, we got a bonus for you if you join." I was like, "Shit, you had me a bonus. Where do I sign?" I went that way, and they had the intel job that I wanted, and that was that.
So what was the intel job? Like, what was your task or duties? I mean, I don't know anything. You're talking to like a guy who's never done anything or just watched whatever you've seen in movies, so I don't know anything about this.
So you've probably heard like, I guess, like army people talk about like their MOS, right? So in the Navy is their rate, so it's their job.
Okay.
It was operational intelligence was my my rate. So
ooh,
it's fun times. A lot of good stuff.
You got any good secrets you want to?
I probably do. Probably will end up with some orbital strike or something if I mention anything. I'm just playing. But I mean, yeah, of course, that the nature of the job is classified, right? Obviously, but yeah, there's that's day-to-day work. So
do they make you sign like a non-disclosure or? I mean, you don't have to answer anything.
I think no. I mean, that in itself is not classified, but I want to say yes, and I think it's something that's part of the background. Like the FBI does your background search.
Okay,
they're the ones that actually handle the process. And for the secret part, it's one process, and then they have for the top secret, which is what you need for intelligence. So the process is a lot more in depth and a lot longer. It usually takes. Yeah. I mean, it's almost literally, the stuff of where they will talk to your neighbors when you were 5 years old. It's literally that, that in depth. And I want to say that as part of that interview with the FBI, that you either sign something or you're recorded, agreeing to those things. So yes.
Well, how did you go from the Army to the Navy? You said you first joined up with them, right?
I went to the Army office to join up first.
Okay.
But they didn't have a bonus, so that's why. Yeah. The money was the bonus was nice at that time.
So where'd you station at? Or where were you stationed at?
So first went to Great Lakes and then Virginia Beach and stayed in the Norfolk area actually.
Oh, so you're pretty close to home. That worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yep. I went in active first, and then they had a thing where whenever a job is overmanned, they'll have like offers to kind of transition to reserve, and I was like, yeah, I'll take that, and did that, and went to school at the same time. Stayed there for 10 years.
Oh, where'd you do school? At ODU?
Roanoke College.
Ah, nice. Okay. Yeah. The Maroons, or is that the nickname?
Oh my God, I'm so bad for like school. What is it, school spirit or whatever? I was just a student.
Dude, don't give up, Buck.
Yeah. I mean, my thing was just like I'm just here to study and get my degree, right, and get out.
Yeah.
But is it the Maroons? Yeah, I think it is.
It's the Maroons.
It is the Maroons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, class of what is it, 2015 or whatever it was. Yeah, I'm not that for school spirit. I mean, I went back. I was late 20s, right? I was a father at that point. I had working full time and doing the reserve thing. Just college life just wasn't my focus. So,
well, how was that? Was that just pretty stressful on you trying to be a father, go to college, and work?
Let me put it to you like this: a typical week, I worked full time. I had to attend college full time in person because it's a private school, so there's not a lot of leniency there.
Yeah.
And then I was very active even during my reserve time. I had the way that our particular job worked. You had different shifts and different weekends. So for the most of the time, I was actually going 2-3 weekends a month. So I would get off work on Friday. I would go to school, come home, pack, get my stuff ready, get in the car, drive 5 hours, work over the weekend in Norfolk, drive back Sunday night, and start all over again.
Damn, Adam, that's dedication right there.
Did that for 3 solid years, so I can finish my education. Yeah.
So that was your life for 3 years. Come home on weekends, drive back 5 hours both ways.
You can ask John at that time.
It was crazy.
I was pretty fit when I came back, but during that time I gained a lot of weight because I didn't have no time to cook or work out or anything. So and it was hard to stay in regs for the Navy too.
You just scarfing down fast food and
yeah. We had I lived across the street from Taco Bell and Cookout, so had a lot of milkshakes.
Sounds like a good combination right there. Cookhouse and Taco Bell.
Yeah,
Cookout, not Cookhouse. Cookout.
It was
Well, how did you stay? How did you stay fit before that?
I've always been pretty active, gym and even before I moved here, I played sports back home anyway. So
okay,
yeah.
You're talking Chris's language.
Yeah,
and you talk about working out.
Oh yeah. I was very active in very into physical fitness, and then after school and all that stuff finished, and I got a hernia actually, an inguinal hernia during deadlifts. So after that, after my surgery, I was super skeptical of going back to heavy lifting. So ever since then, I've just been doing like very just maintenance stuff, aerobics and dumbbell stuff and running and stuff.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask, I've never met anybody personally who's ever done SEAL Fit. I mean, with the Navy, but that's basically like an upper, I don't want to say an upper class, but a harder CrossFit version of CrossFit, I would think. It's more, trying to be a Navy SEAL type fitness style as far as what I do. So anyway, I was wondering if you were, that's the reason I asked, if you were actually doing SEAL Fit stuff. And
oh, no.
Boats over heads, and is that what they do?
Oh, yeah. And they did like the, what are those things called? So the press ups, but they do like the pull ups and then the push up on top, at the very top.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, we have people that did that stuff. I worked alongside Navy SEALs and stuff. And, but at that time I was very fit. And then we had our LT in school came from a special ops unit. So he was working us out pretty rigorously. A lot of throwing up at the beach and stuff. But it was fun times. Very good times.
So that was in Norfolk, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And so you didn't so speaking of that, so I see what SEAL Fit or Navy SEALs have to go through is like sitting in water and boats overhead and stuff. You didn't have to do any of that type of, I guess, did you just do just like basic training or? Yeah.
So like basic training, and even in basic training, you see, you'll typically, and this is actually probably a very funny story for probably a lot of your audience. So when you go to boot camp, the Navy does have swimming, right? You gotta do past certain.
I mean, I would hope so.
Right, it's the Navy, right, and the world is covered by a lot of water, apparently. So weird. I've never been a good swimmer. I actually did not know. I can't say that I know how to swim. So during boot camp, when it comes to the swimming portion, that's when you go to the pool and it's just a bunch of people, kind of like it's picture. Like farmers leading cows to the slaughterhouse, but only instead of a slaughter, it's people getting pushed off to jump in the water. So I get up to the top and they're like, you know how to swim? And I'm like, nope. It's like, well, you're about to find out today. And I'm like, okay. It's like, are you afraid of jumping? I'm like, nope, I'll jump. Because I see guys down in the water that are ready to catch me anyway. So I jumped and I did not know how to swim, obviously. And they make you go back to the pool every single day, twice a day. And then when you go there, that's when you see the guys that are testing for the different it's not necessarily SEALs because they do like EOD and stuff too. So like you see those guys at the pool as they're bringing the guys that are learning how to swim. So we're over here with little like floaty tubes, and then there's these guys with their hands tied and their feet tied, jumping in the water, and like what the fuck. So yeah, I get to see a lot of that, but yeah, I cannot participate in any of that stuff.
Nice. That sounds like some good times right there.
It
were some terrifying times, maybe I should say.
It was, man. I mean, I was alongside people that they literally couldn't even stick their heads in the water. Like they had that fear, and I had that fear too, not necessarily to that degree, but yeah, it was humbling, and but it was still fun, right?
Well, how'd you overcome that fear? Just keep doing it and just keep going back and.
Pretty much, it's every day, right? Twice a day. And it just gets to the point where you just look around and you realize that everybody's in the same spot that you are, right? Everybody is as bad at it as you are.
Mm-hmm.
And you just kind of keep each other motivated and get through it.
Yeah, there's something I can kind of relate to that badass that as far as you're going through a workout, you're doing something that's miserable. It's going to be tough on everybody there. Nobody's going to have a great time doing it. But when you come out and you all do it, there's a sense of accomplishment and a sense of, like bonding, like, yeah, you're a teamwork. We've all done this. And now we're like together. We went through the fire. We came out of it alive kind of thing. And it almost makes you, it does make you a better person in my experience. I was like, fuck, I did that. Yeah, all right, what's next? What's next, boys?
Yep. And having, being surrounded by people, like you said, that are doing the same thing, that are suffering as much as you are. Definitely makes it easier to kind of get over that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, it's like you're not the only one that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's funny because most of my peers, most of us were from the islands. So, yeah, it was funny. It was very funny.
John, you got any insight? I don't mean to just leave you over there. Just I got.
Islanders can't swim.
I've never been a strong swimmer by any means, but I can swim. But it's nothing to any links or go fast or like that. Just keep your head above water.
Yeah, I do. I do well not to drown myself, but I come from the mountains. Of course, that's no excuse for me not being able to dig a ditch worth of shit. But it's just funny how you can be exposed to something for the first time, even though you're nearby it. There's so much in a given area that you just overlook, or it's that get to it later kind of mentality that you end up just being like, oh man, I never got to that.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of what happens for folks.
Yep. And it's funny because my entire childhood we used to do like summer camps, and we would go to the pool and it would be swimming lessons. It's just one of those things that didn't learn enough to I guess feel confident enough to pass the test.
Just because of lack of experience?
Yeah, I just didn't do it enough, so it would be like summer camp and then you go at the pool for a few weeks a year, right? And when you go to the beach, it's not like we're not out in the ocean swimming, we just go to the beach with our parents and come back. So
yeah, that's true. Well, that's how it was for me when I was taught how to swim. It was like at a rec center or anything, and then you just had somebody helping you, obviously. And exactly what you just said. Like first time at the beach in open water, I was like, "The fuck am I doing here?" And
it's very different.
Yeah, it's completely different. You're so vulnerable. For the first time, I don't really recall what it was like other than somebody just coming out there like kind of by my side, and that was my security blanket. Like as far as like, okay, am I okay? Can I go out this far? Am I good? Okay. All right. Oh, so how about you training wheels?
Have you guys seen the new way that they teach kids how to swim?
No, have not.
So it's pants-shittingly terrifying. And I saw this and I thought it was a joke. But so what they do is they take kids that are like 6 months, 9 months, a year old or whatever, like where they can kind of locomote. And they take them over to the edge of the pool, and the adult swimming instructor is in the pool, and they just take the baby and they go, yeet, and drop the baby into the pool. And the baby kind of swims around, like, rights itself because people are buoyant. And the baby comes up, and the person's like, snapping their fingers, and the baby comes up, and then the person's like, you did it, yay, and like is very like kind of this affirmation of job well done, and apparently kids just take to it. And I was like, there is no way that if someone told me that was a good idea, I need to see 10, 15 other people drop their kids in the pool like that and I'd still be kind of skeptical. But I thought it was an interesting process of how it's like,
so they're snapping their fingers to come back up to the above water?
I will YouTube this video because I saw it as like, that ain't real. And then I Googled it and I was like, okay, so that's a thing. But so like the person is in the water and the baby's like, bloop. And then what they'll do is like, if the water's here and the baby's swimming up, there's like, and they kind of, whatever, I guess the motion or the sound, the baby's like, it goes on up and there it is.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like that's how they teach them not to drown.
Is it one of these, like a baby's just pure instincts just to know to go back to the top of the water? You think?
I feel like I've heard that. So
I mean, have you ever seen like as far as like going to fitness? Like, you ever seen a baby do a squat? It's perfect all the time, no matter what. But when you
that's actually true. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when you get to an adult, it's just like you completely forget. Like, what? How do you sit down in a chair? I don't know. Let me bend down and backwards and touch my toes and do something weird. Then I'll sit down. But yeah, baby just knows instinctively. Is that the right word? Sometimes I just say words and hope that's correct usage. So, but yeah, it's perfect every time. And it's just like when they get older, and I guess society and their environment they grew up in, it just starts changing. Maybe, I don't know. Could be my perspective. I don't know. There's nobody like read into that. I'm just me just talking out of my ass.
It's all right.
But yeah, I'm just wondering if that's just something like, oh yeah, I can't breathe. Let me move my hands and go to the top.
I've heard of parents that literally do that, right? Without, not necessarily as part of like I guess like the school of thought that John's talking about. But I've heard of parents literally do that. So yeah, I mean, it could be
the baby Yeet technique.
Well, as far as Spartan warriors, like as far as that history and philosophy goes, didn't they used to do that with their kids? They would take them out into the woods and just leave them there and just say, "Hey, fend for yourself, and if you make it back, you can become a Spartan warrior."
According to Frank Miller, yes.
Yeah, there we go. But I actually thought, I mean, not only Frank Miller, but I actually do think that was actually part of the history, or
it could be.
He probably turned it into something completely
right. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like Frank Miller's version is like highly romanticized, but I don't know, where the facts stop, right, and then the creativity.
Yeah, it was instantly when they were born. Like they had a Spartan family had a son. There was automatically, let's go ahead and start training them. But that was part of their test, is to go out and fend for yourself, and if you come back, you can be part of our army. To my knowledge,
that would be pretty interesting if we had stuff like that today.
Dude, okay, yeah. So, I mean, you get a phone with buttons on it. You're like, what the fuck is this? I can't. I'm not.
So,
how do I go this one? What's up, John?
According to a random website, it's like you have Spartan education and military. Apparently, they were taught from an early age, of course, raised to be fighters. But at 18, they were put out into the world and had to steal their own food. Getting caught would result in a harsh punishment, including flogging. And so it was to help them learn stealth and cunning. So they didn't have to. I think Frank Miller was like, let's just send this guy out into the woods to have him, kill a wolf by himself. But again, I think it was much earlier than 18.
Okay, well, 18 is way different than what I was thinking. I was thinking it was literally like 6, 7, 8. Go out there, bro. Good luck.
And this is unverified. First click off the Google. So
it's probably legit.
It's 100% true.
It's probably not an ad at all.
No, it looks like I mean, honestly, it's one of those pages that you're like, shit, was that made with angel fire back in the late 90s?
So you're talking about the Spartan. I wonder if any other, like the Romans do anything like that as far as sending their kids out as.
Like the only difference in the military then and the military now is that the military then you wanted to send your kids into it because it was a way to rise in power and prestige. And now if you're
status,
higher government employee, it's like, oh no, my kids stay home. They stay home.
So it's weird how just turn the tables that much of a 180 just to go out and be respected. Now you just stay home.
No.
Is that just because of overprotection from the parents, or?
I mean, I'm sure that helicopter parenting has some impact on that, right?
That's what I'm thinking.
But I mean, at the same time, I think that even the way that the military operates has changed dramatically, even within the last 10 years. Like I know people that are maybe joined, a few years before me. And they went through probably a significantly more different type of experience than I did, right? Not saying that when I went in, it was like already soft, but I've heard of people that have been in there since before me, that there were things that they used to do that they used to get away with. Mind you, some of the stuff was not okay, right? And it's borderline hazing, but
Wouldn't say borderline.
Well, what?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, were you hazed then, Adam? Or
No. I mean, but I could also see how maybe I mean, I could see how somebody could perceive it as hazing, right?
because of movies and TV.
Not just the movies, but like maybe they have a different background, or maybe the environment that they grew up in was more sheltered, or right, or maybe like John, right? He said he's from the mountains. If you come from a small town or something like that, then maybe you're not used to that type of a rough, fast-paced environment, right? Because it's not about your feelings anymore. It's about the entire unit, right? So I can see how to somebody like that it could seem like that, but I don't think, from my experience, no, absolutely not.
So you're talking, have you ever seen the movie Jarhead?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, at that one point when Jake Gyllenhaal almost comes in there and they're fake branding him, but then he passes out because he actually thinks he got branded, and like you think like somebody who never came up with somebody just fucking with people like that, and they freak out. They say, "Oh, this is hazing," or it's actually just, "Hey, you're one of the boys. This is what." We watch out for each other, but we also give each other shit. And
right. I mean, are there traditions, older than even ourselves that still take place? Sure. Do I know some former Marines that went through some probably similar shit? Sure.
Yeah.
But is it all actually condoned by the military? Probably not. But at the same time, sometimes brotherhood kind of supersedes the whatever is
well, it means a lot, that brotherhood, right. You see the movie Lone Survivor, right?
Yes, I did.
Marcus, what's the guy?
Marcus,
the guy who's actually survives.
Yeah,
I might have to look at Mark. I forgot his last name, but anyway,
I remember his name. But yes.
He was on Joe Rogan a few months, maybe last month.
Yep,
months ago.
I watched it.
Oh, okay, good.
Yep.
And he was talking about kind of the same thing, that you might be sleeping in bed one night and all of a sudden your boys will just come running in and throw you in a swimming pool, then steal all your liquor and just leave. But as far as they fuck with you, but then they're just, hey, anytime you need something, they got your back. I mean, this is just to fuck with you and have a good time. But that brotherhood you're speaking of and teamwork, I mean, it means a lot. I mean,
absolutely. I mean, even to this day, so even like when you go to boot camp, right, and you're sharing this big open space with 88 of your closest strangers, even though none of them are probably likely to go to your school, right, and do your job, so you probably will never see them again. You may run into them in the future, right, if you're cross paths. But whoever, those people that you build relationships with in boot camp, even if I haven't spoken to them since boot camp, I can guarantee you that I can hit up at least some of them right now and pick up where we left off.
See, that's badass.
Those are relationships that just never dissolve.
Yeah, I mean, you like we were talking earlier with fitness and stuff. You just go through that shit together and you build that brotherhood and that bond, and it just never breaks. That's just, I think it's badass. That's fucking cool to me.
No arguments here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've never lived that really, as far as obviously military, or just I can only relate through CrossFit and doing competitions with people and stuff, but. It's like, hey, man, we're going to try to win this. We're going to fuck ourselves up. But if we come out all right in the end, we'll do it. So, but yeah, man, I can dig that for sure. So, you almost change gears here as far as military stuff and move into something wild and crazy, even better.
Whatever.
Let's not talk about gas prices, all right? let's not talk about
wait. All right. So, all right. I want to hit on the gas shortage. All right.
Oh!
Dude, I just want to say that. All right, so they got ransomware for $5 million, correct?
Was it that little?
Yeah, and they paid it. And I'm in my head, I'm just thinking, this hacker.
Wait, they paid it?
They paid it. Colonial Gas, what was it called?
I was not aware that they paid it.
So they paid it, and it was only for $5 million. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so they took over a southeastern of the United States colonial or gas pipeline or whatever you want to call it for $5 million. It's like, that's it?
4.4 million.
Okay, so 4.4. It's like, that's it? I mean, you didn't want like 20, like 100 million that you try to cause an economic crisis just for $5 million and put yourself into lifetime in jail?
Maybe there's like a different sentence if you get caught So they pick the amount tactically. Hey, don't ask over this amount.
But there's 40 of us, and like we're spreading it out, so it's just shy of the 1.2 million that would take us to butt pounding prison versus Bernie Madoff prison. So yeah, it could be the case.
Yeah, no,
I can't believe.
That's the only part I want to say about that. I just thought it was that's it, 4.4 then. So
yeah,
I mean, I feel like if I was going to do that, I'm like, hey man, we're going for 100 mil. What's up?
I mean, why not?
Hey,
I mean, I feel like I will probably do some research on if there's like a punishment, like a scale of how much money you get, or you extort. I guess in that case, what extortion?
Yeah,
yeah. Maybe at the 5 million line, there's like more years added to your sentence or something.
Well, yeah. You might need to fact check me too on this, John or Adam, if you're looking up stuff too. But I think that the group who actually did claim to do this said that they were actually not trying to cause an economic crisis. They were actually just trying to make some money, and they were not trying to make a statement like a terrorist statement, or they were just said, hey, we just wanted to take over some computers, easy way to make some cash. So.
Just want to make that cash.
And y'all might have more insight on this. Is it that easy to hack into a gas pipeline? Do y'all know that? Any operational intelligence you want to?
I know. Well, I don't know, but I can tell you that if it's like the ease through which people usually fall for even stuff like phishing, right? Simple phishing attempts to your regular email. A lot of people fall for shit like that. So it's plausible. There was even a Vice news story not that long ago about a police department that got ransomware, and they paid it, and then they got attacked again by the same person. Because why not, right? They got away with it.
Yeah, once. They paid it, and then why not? Yeah, go ahead. We'll make another one.
Right.
We'll do it again.
And I mean,
at
that
a bit
point,
rude, but
yeah, it's just kind of setting the precedence of, hey, I can get away with it now, so why not keep asking and keep doing it? But yeah, people absolutely fall for. I mean, if they fall for simple, like social engineering attacks and phishing stuff, it's very possible that people at that company are gullible enough to just say, hey, we'll just pay it and hopefully it'll go away.
Well, that was kind of what I'm thinking, is that, okay, so this group did the pipeline or gas pipeline, and now what is next? Like, are they going to go for electrical grid, or? I mean, if they, like what you're saying, they paid it. All right, we made it easy, 4.4 million now. So why don't we try to do something like we'll hack Texas electrical grid line.
It could be. I mean, if you think about it, it wouldn't be too hard for them to get, like a distribution list of all the emails for everybody that's employed at, I don't know, AEP. And, maybe they can get somebody that's enough of a sucker that falls for, getting extorted for a simple email. Hey, if you don't do this, then we'll hack you. And then they'll get money that way.
So you're saying they just find somebody's random email and they just send them a saying like, hey, if you don't.
I think the amount of information that you can find online for social engineering attacks is,
Yeah, I mean, you could, like for Radford University, I mean, you could easily find, my staff information online, and if you sent me an email, hopefully I would be smart enough, like, this doesn't seem right. I'm not going to click on this, but it could be one person.
People do, though. But people do, though.
Yeah, exactly. We've had a couple random attacks at where I work at, but it's nothing that's like, hey, we're taking over your servers or something. But it was just like, it's more of phishing emails, but
right.
Or phishing scams.
But those phishing emails are exactly that. It's hey, if I'm a hacker group, then I'm gonna throw 100,000 hooks into the ocean. Somebody's gonna bite. And that's exactly what happens.
Well, that's not a bad way to look at it. I mean, you're going to play the lottery or something. You buy 100,000 tickets. So you got to win on something, right? At least one of them.
That's mathematically how they do it. And it's, you have the robotic automated. I mean, how many times have you gotten a phone call? This is the auto dealer warranty department. This is the FBI or CIA. Please wait until an agent connects you. That's something that gets people upset. My favorite thing, though, is, I mean, you think statistically speaking, let's say half of everyone who owns a credit card has a Visa credit card. And the more malicious ones are the live people that'll go, hey, hi, I'm calling from Visa. Wanted to check up on your account. Can you please confirm? And they start asking questions. And the first one they'll say, can you confirm that you're insert name? And I was like, oh yeah, that's me. Well, of course they know it's your damn name. They called you at your house on your phone number. It's public knowledge. Now all of a sudden they're like, okay, can you confirm? Sometimes they'll say the address because those three things are just really easy to get. You can Google anybody and find it. And then what they'll say is, okay, we need you to tell us your date of birth and your social security to confirm identification. Well, now all of a sudden they have your name, address, age, phone number, and then it's like, okay, still your account. And people are like, okay. And of course, after they've gotten that, they'll say, okay, we're going to reconnect you to our team of service engineers. And they just hang up the phone. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, you've given them all your info. They're typing it up, making new, credit card accounts, getting loans, stuff like that. And it's really, really easy.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't take much, corporate training for phishing engineers or anti-phishing techniques is super prevalent. I know we've all done it at some point in time.
I've done it. Yep. I work for a massive company and we do it pretty regularly. And I've had people that, that I've managed before that fall for that trap. So I'll get an email saying, hey, please have this person take this course. And I'm like, oh shit. And it will be something, it will be something obvious in the email, like not even the subject line. It will be like something like, do not reply to this, like this is a test or something over it. And yeah, people fall for that. Just like John said, if I'm calling you, I'm speaking to you for 5 to 7 seconds and you're I already got your buy-in, right? So yeah, it's crazy. Sense. It's way easier than people realize. Even the what are those stupid I'm not on Facebook like that, but what's that other famous website that has
Instagram? TikTok?
No, but like the one that has like different like top 10 lists and like stupid
Twitter
shit, like maybe Twitter
trending?
does it too. No,
trending on Twitter,
something like that. But basically it will be, I'm sure you guys have seen something like this. It'll be something like, hey, list your pet's name, or what city did you grow up in, where were you born, or whatever.
What? It's like one of these Facebook games.
Yeah, like those type of games.
Okay. Like figure out which Game of Thrones character you are.
Right.
Okay.
And it'll be like, give me your, I don't know, like what's the street that you grew up on or whatever.
Yeah, we'll give you your porn star name.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Right. But if you think about it, right, all of those questions are literally the security questions that you set on your bank account, right?
Nope.
Shit.
And it's all public information. And I can literally download Power BI right now and connect to Facebook and run a report, and I can get all of those fields extracted into an Excel file, like literally just like that.
You just blew my fucking mind, Adam. I never thought that's the game that they're playing, is that's literally all the security questions for your passwords and stuff.
Well, think of it, and the best part is what Adam was just saying. Okay, I send out to everyone on my friends list on Facebook.
Okay.
The information I'm looking for. Hey, put this in and find out. Well, all of a sudden, then they share it because, oh, that's cute. I want to find out who my favorite irrelevant information piece is.
My favorite Disney princess is.
Exactly. Dude, I hate seeing those things all show up my social media feed, especially when people share them. I got Princess Layla. Cool. Yeah, sick, bro.
And that actually ties more into this. So people are like, hey, I thought this was cool. I did this. So they send it to their friends. You've got the buy-in. You have the social interaction that it takes for you to go, hey, hell, I want to see if I'm an Elsa. I want to see if I'm a, Little Mermaid, whatever, Ariel.
Hell yeah, bro.
So they'll put this information in, right? So it starts just spreading all over, kind of like COVID did in 2020. But once it gets to everybody and everybody fills out these fields and information, anybody can go pull the data, download it, and say, okay, here you go.
Yep.
And it's done. And you've sent out one email to 20 or one post to 20 people, and now everybody has access to the information to be able to use as they see fit. I mean, it would... If people knew how much information they give away for free that people have access to, it would people would be absolutely terrified.
And it's permanently available too, by the way.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you can't scrub. You can't scrub the internet.
That's true. That's facts. Yeah, I never thought of it that way. That the way both you just said that it's permanently available, and when you answer those questions, it's just literally shit that you would put in for passwords and stuff. Fuck. Now I want to. I got to go back and change all my passwords now. I feel like.
Like how do you prove it's me? It's like, well, I'm enough of an asshole that I answer all the questions wrong on purpose. So.
Well, for when you boys are actually making passwords for yourselves, or do you actually put a? I've read don't put obviously just a word, but actually put a saying or something of that nature. Does that make sense?
I do pretty complex passwords, but even then, so like even if I'm saving, I know people that use password managers, right?
Yep.
And I know that like John uses something like a similar method that I do. So even if I write, I have a lot of passwords to keep track of. So instead of writing the password down for a particular website, I'll just write down something that reminds me of what my password was.
Memory keys.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, okay, that makes sense.
So like a mnemonic or something like that. Yep.
Yeah. So like for me, it'll be like I have on my encrypted hard drive in a password protected file. If you got to it and opened it up, you would get a bunch of usernames and passwords that are actually only relevant for me to be able to remember what I need to put into the field. So
right. Yep.
But then like as far as how you put in your password, I mean it's there's generic, dumb shit passwords of stuff. It's like if someone hacked my account for whatever my MySpace from way back when, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, well,
but then bank accounts, different passwords for each one because you don't want to carte blanche that. And then different accounts for work emails, different accounts for different emails because you don't want your backup email to have the same password as your primary in case that one of those gets hacked. And as far as like how you put it in there, numbers, characters, uppercase, lowercase, longer is usually better until somebody's trying to has the equipment to brute force into it, but that's irrelevant.
Well, so correct me if I'm wrong. You said you actually physically write it down? Or
shit, no, it's on a encrypted drive and a password protected file.
Okay.
So
you got like a 2-factor authentication going on, or I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm not up to speed on this. So you're gonna have to.
Yeah, I mean, 2-factor authentication is so like if you log into your website and then they send you a code to your phone.
Correct.
Right. So. I think it's more like, it's like John says, it's like an extra layer of security.
Gotcha.
So it's, yeah. I mean, and even then, it's nothing's ever like safe permanent. Like if somebody really wanted to target you personally, like it could happen. But
do you think they? Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off, Sean. Go ahead.
I was gonna say there's not a lot you can do if there's someone with intent and even marginal training. I mean, you can go online, learn how to hack into stuff. There's a buddy of mine when he was still doing training in college. There was a website that was, it was designed to walk you through the step-by-step process of how to hack into other websites. And so it's like step one, how do you put in this username and password? And when you opened up the HTML code, it was actually embedded in the code of like, this accepts this. And like, as you went deeper and deeper, they would actually, it was funny because he told me, he's like, I'm at the part now that I have to download a file. And if I get it wrong, it gives me a virus. So I have to be really specific about my methodology. But, there's so many things like you can spoof, deep fake with facial images. If people want to get into your stuff and they want to pretend to be you, it's easy.
So
terribly easy.
So if they want to target you, when I say they, I mean just a regular hacker group, do they target you just specifically on because they know you have Jeff Bezos type money, or they just know you work for the government, or is it just a random act to say, hey, all right, this guy probably would be a good target, fuck him?
I mean, I think all those are valid.
Oh, okay. Just depending on the situation, how they're feeling for the night.
Yeah, I mean, I was the target of some pretty heinous activity there last year, where a guy was falsifying evidence to the police, and I had to go in and give them more definitive evidence to the contrary. And they were able to work through and be able to, establish that this was all horseshit. But, like, for instance, I want to send if I knew Michael Jordan's phone number and I could put it into the computer, and I think it's like the first 10 clicks are free. I can send you a text message and it shows up coming from Michael Jordan's number on your phone being like, yo, man, I want you to come hang out. Give me $300 for a plane ticket. Yeah. And I'll come do a shout out on Shelor Select, and it'll look like it's from his number. And, obviously you couldn't respond to it, but people will do that. They'll put in a little link. Speaking of new phishing hacks, one of the things is like, hey, click on this link. And it'll come from a legitimate number on your text message ID. And it's like, okay, cool. And like you click on the link, all of a sudden, either you download spam or spyware, or they ask you like, hey, can you put in your credit card information? I want $5 to donate to American Cancer Society or something. Well, all of a sudden now they get your credit card information. They got, your info. They know that you're a targetable asset for these kinds of, that's the big thing too. If people know, what is it? It's, if they know she's a bitch.
Yep. Yeah. You just cemented yourself as a sucker. So yeah, it's just gonna keep happening.
Yeah, because they're gonna milk the cow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that you can do. Protect yourself, keep your passwords safe, don't write them down.
Change them frequently.
So if somebody took my number, like you just said, if they took Michael Jordan's number, if they took my number and sent a text or anything you were just saying, would there be any way I would know?
Mm-mm.
No.
Verizon would not say, or can you go back and look
knows.
at your statements or texts, or
the telecommunications companies would know for sure.
Yeah.
But to you yourself, not unless you have like the need to know, right? So.
Well, yeah. I would never go unless somebody actually said, "Hey, did you text me this or whatever?"
Right.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, then it comes back to you, and so when they respond to the text, you get that information back, and it's like, I never text you anything. It's like, oh, really? You didn't send this, and you're like, no. But in my situation, that's exactly what had to happen. Is the telecom company had the records pulled as what was from my phone, what wasn't from my phone. I actually submitted my phone for 10 days to get a full pull. And I told the police officer, I said, well, you're going to find I'm an asshole, but I'm not that kind of asshole. So I was like, and if you see anything on there as far as like dirty photos and stuff you like, just look over them. But again, it was
probably good practice for their microscopes.
It was actually. They were very eyeballing it.
Well, speaking of hacking and sharing passwords and things of that nature, so have you seen Snowden, or Eric Snowden? Who I'm talking about. Okay, so
Edward Snowden.
Edward Snowden. Okay,
Edward Snowden.
Yeah. And then the movie
boy.
Snowden was on Netflix with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So and that's how people got discovered that, hey, people are actually listening on our devices. Well, not just people, but the government.
Yes.
So was this all part of? How do I want to say this? I'm not sure how I want to. Not really sure. I wanted to. How do I want to? I was trying not to say anything too
controversial.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. But does this kind of all relate into how all that was discovered? I guess is where I want to go with this. Is that how Edward Snowden found out? It's like, oh yeah, we're actually spying on people through laptops or phones and.
Well, he worked in the industry, so he worked for an intelligence agency.
Okay.
So I can't remember exactly like all the details, but I do know that actively collecting intelligence against U.S. citizens is actually illegal. So.
But was that just for I think didn't they try to? When I say they, I guess the government say that they were collecting this intelligence was just because for national security.
Right, but so let's say that if it's for national security and you want to record 330 million people's text messages, right?
Right.
At that point, is it really for national security?
Yeah.
For 330 million people, and let's be conservative and say, okay, half of those people, so 115 million people, what are they doing? Looking up porn and sending out stupid memes and you checking out my podcast, bro? That's, I mean, who gives a damn about that?
Yeah, there's even a yearly training that we had to complete, actually, that is a reminder of that we cannot collect on
really
on US.
Yeah, it's okay because they also remind you that you can't keep an email in an offsite server either. It's treason, but we won't go into that. That's I don't think it's treason anymore.
So, I mean, with that, like you said, 330 million. So it's that easy just to hack. And like I said, to be conservative, we'll say half of that, 115. Is that right? 230.
165, bro.
Okay, yeah, for those who do math. So anyway, I went to Radford. But yeah, I mean, is it that easily just to collect or hack into a laptop and cell phone and iPad and Android?
So you think of hacking in. Hacking in is incredibly difficult.
Okay.
You wouldn't want to hack in though because you're looking for the information that you're getting for free. Do you have an Android phone?
I do not. I have an iPhone.
Okay. Have you ever used something called Siri?
A couple times.
Yeah. So
I ask her to figure out what song is playing, just usually.
All right. So by default, in the way that Siri works, is that it's always listening because it's listening for you to prompt, "Hey Siri." But of course, if it's not always listening, it wouldn't know when you say, "Hey Siri." Now, somehow I think I've got my iPad turned off and she's not listening, or she just doesn't care. But so you have this constant amount of data, and it's actually the fact that delivering and receiving and recording data, there's so much of it that we don't have the proper tools to be able to comb through and pick up this stuff. It's like if they're wanting to identify a domestic terrorist, they're combing through this stuff, but basically what they're doing is they're looking for, I think it's like 32 or more unique identifiers, because you need to, like, you can't just say Allah and all of a sudden you're on the watch list. Like, you need to be saying very specific things over the course of a certain frequency, and then they'll start listening in more. But why hack into your computer when you've got Android listening to everything? What's it, Cortana? God, bless
Cortana,
her.
On
She
Halo?
tries so hard.
Yeah. Well, it's Microsoft's AI. Yeah.
They took it from that.
Echo for Amazon. You have Siri, of course, for Apple.
And Bixby for Android, I think.
Oh no, that's Samsung's. That's awful. God.
Oh, yeah.
Why would anybody I felt bad for Cortana. I forgot about Bixby entirely.
Yeah.
But you get all of this coming together as pieces and parts of information that you're giving away for free, and they don't need to hack in to find out. I mean, your phone tells you. I got a buddy of mine. He says, "Oh, I don't sign into YouTube," and I said, "Why?" I said, "So." He's like, "Well, I watch stuff on my phone, but I just don't want to have to, sign into the account." I said, "The only person that doesn't know what you're watching is you, because they have the IP of the phone. They know the times that you've logged in to YouTube. They know what you've watched. They have the geographical data of your address where you've watched it, because it's the phone to IP. If you connect to your router there, or if you're pinging off of a cell phone tower, they know, the age group of all of the people in your house. So if you're watching hunting videos at 10 o'clock, it's probably not going to go to, a 1-year-old girl." Like, they know that for a fact. Like, statistically speaking, you're able to make educated guesses. So they know that on this device at this time, more than likely this user is looking at this. And with, again, statistical probability, who and what you're doing at any given time. So you take all of these things into account, the fact that they were now beginning to map actual text messages, which text messages was a bigger deal because it's part of the telecom industry that's not emails. Because, I mean, Google, I think you guys have Gmail, and Google has and reserves the right, and more often than not does, info to all your emails. That's why you get it for free, because they know what you're sending, what you're receiving, and people use it as a staple and a standard. So Google doesn't care to record all your information, because that's how all of a sudden when you make a chat like, I want to, hey, thanks Google. At least Google listens to me. I always appreciate that.
Hey, Google.
But I mean, again, there's just so much information that hacking into an account is ludicrously difficult when you can go and get the information for free or near free by just knowing where to look. And there's, companies call information the new oil, the new black gold, because it allows them to do better targeting. I think, Chris, I think it was a couple episodes ago where I talked about the Target ad in which they targeted that girl because it's like, we believe with a statistical degree of like 87% or more that she's pregnant and that she's going to be delivering. So we want to make sure that we give coupons so that you go to a store, because Walmart, Target, big box stores, 60% of their sales go and occur from people stepping into the door, not necessarily for things that people wanted to buy. It's like, I'm here for milk, but while I'm here, I might as well pick up some toilet paper. I might as well pick up some cat food or dog food. I might as well, pick up a snack. Oh, look, there's a movie. I mean, it's right over here. So they're wanting to get you in the door, but they have all your info. And what info they don't have, they either purchase it because you've agreed on your credit card company that, we'll not share the important details. We'll just share the asinine details that if somebody actually puts them all together, they'll be able to get a full user profile. And of course,
customer profile.
Yep.
Marketing even uses that.
Yeah. And it's perfectly legal for companies to get this because you've given it away in the 200 pages of the user acceptance. But when Edward Snowden was talking about the government doing it, they were again tracking information in a very different and what is perceived as a more malicious way. And so that was really kind of the issue. But his higher ups didn't agree that he was being patriotic and actually ignored him and told him to go pound sand. So when he exposed it, he immediately became a candidate for Russian citizenry. I think that's where he's at right now.
Yeah, he's in Russia. Have you ever heard of the app Signal? I think it's called Signal. Y'all might want to fact check me on that. But apparently it's supposed to encrypt your text messages, whether it's iPhone or Android, and I guess it takes a higher level of security. I think it's called Signal, and then obviously it tells you if you download it and you actually start using it. So if all three of us were texting each other, it would say, hey, John and Adam are using Signal. They're one of your contacts, Chris. Do you want to use that? But apparently it's, I don't know if as far as privacy acts and we're talking about hackers too, it's way harder to encrypt it and actually see your text messages through a government too. Have you ever?
I haven't heard of that app, but I know.
I think it's called Signal. Y'all might want to check.
Yeah, I checked that out. There's an app called Signal, and that's what they talk about.
But I know there's a lot of other messaging platforms that are preferred in many countries, like WhatsApp, for example, right? That there's preferred for specifically that. And but then there was something recently that took place that they fell out of favor from a security perspective, and a lot of people are moving to Telegram. It's a little bit safer now, apparently. But yeah, I mean, it's not. Yeah, that's more secure ways to kind of, I guess, send messages.
Is Apple OS more secure and more private compared to an Android phone? In y'all's opinion, if you have
I think that the reason. So it's always been where most viruses and malicious programming is created targeting PC and Android, but that's just because of the
amount of usage they have,
the amount of users relative to somebody that uses a Mac, for example. Yeah. So there's far more Windows computers in the world than Macs.
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense because as far as me working at university or Bradford University, I see far more PCs than I do Macs. So
right.
That makes perfect sense.
But I don't think it has to do with the fact that Apple is inherently more safe. I think it's just.
So it might go back to the fact where you said you throw 100,000 sinker or lines in there, they're going to get more of a PC rather than a Mac.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Plus the viruses that do affect Macs. It's not like, now I'm getting pop-ups for, penile enlargement pills. Now it's, I have a brick and it doesn't work anymore. Shit. So, I mean, they're very, very destructive when they actually work for Mac. But again,
like the damage that they cause. You mean? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I've heard that. Yeah.
Wait. So it causes more damage on a Mac?
Oh yeah. Like because of the way that the OSs are designed, you can insert something into the code. I'm just saying this in a very stupid way, so
Right, yeah, that's what my listeners need, especially me too.
The way that the code is updated, it's going to be a lot easier to put it onto a Windows or an Android device because they take the code and kind of piecemeal it together in parts. But an image, which is like the full kind of view of the Mac or Linux system, once you kind of corrupt that, you brick the thing. Like it's just like, and I'm done. And
just because you fucked with the code and it doesn't know how to read it. Kind of is that am I way off base there?
That's an easy way of putting it, and I'm not technically qualified to be able to correct you on this. So yeah, that'll work.
Oh, okay. I'm just kind of going off my experiences and what I've done as far as my small IT experience, but. And then, like, at Radford University, they say, oh, yeah, we need to re-image your computer. It's like, okay, yeah, whatever. Do whatever y'all need to do. But all I see them really do is just take out the old OS. And then when I say OS, folks, I'm talking about operating system. But then put in the new Windows 10 version, whatever, or a new update or whatever.
And they'll have their security protocols and stuff like that they put on there. And
of course. Yeah, I never really did know... as far as administrators and as far as roles go on PCs and stuff. I actually started learning about that in tech accounts and you have master's accounts. As far as my experience, so there's a lot of people who can do anything they want with your computer as long as they have access to it. But
yep,
yeah, it's interesting. All that stuff just blows my mind.
So let's see here. We went from people drinking gas and storing it in tubes to
I didn't mean to go a whole down
to
information technology route on this.
The fact that Adam is still shit at swimming, but he has a can-do attitude.
I am absolutely.
It's like I'm. That's what it is.
Well,
it's funny. We went full circle.
Well, you want to take it home from here, folks?
Lead the way, gentlemen.
Okay. Unless anything else we want to touch on is as far as world philosophy, we can solve world hunger, or we can figure out I don't know, we can talk about conspiracy theories. Man, I love doing that stuff. But,
those are fun.
those are fun to get into, man.
yeah, those are fun. I mean, really, I'm open for anything.
Okay, well, tell you got any alien experience with your Navy?
Alien experience? Yeah. No, not with the Navy. But I can tell you that before that, yes.
Actually. Okay. Yeah. We caught fire earlier than we thought. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
That's quick.
I did have an experience when I was younger back in Puerto Rico, and I think you can. I was actually telling this to Megan last night.
Who's Megan? Your wife?
My girl. Yeah, my wifey. And she knows the story. But I'm sure you guys have heard of like Chupacabras, right? You remember that?
Chupacabra?
Just Chupacabras.
Ain't that
literally the only time I thought it was Mexican? It was like half goat, half something else.
Well, no, Spielberg did a series on The Outsider. And they actually had a thing where they were actually telling you, hell, it's a chupacabra killing everybody.
Right. And it was, it's been in a few series too, like, and even in a few documentaries, like, what's that? That guy had a show on the Travel Channel that he did a lot of mysteries too, but they covered it in there too. But anyway, like that was actively happening when I was in high school back in Puerto Rico. And we had around that time we had an experience where there's the way our house that I grew up in is literally, it's like our house sits on a hill, and then it's a deep you go at the bottom of the hill, there's like a small creek, and then across the creek is like the government project housing, basketball court, baseball field, and then up to just to the left of that is a radio station and a tall antenna. So when we sit in the dining table, there's two windows to the corner where both windows are facing the antenna. So there was a sighting on top of that one antenna at one point, and we saw the whole thing, with the big bright lights and something obviously not from this planet just hovering there and then disappearing.
Did it look like a flying saucer? Like what?
For us, it just looked like a very big bright light. So that was. I'm literally getting goosebumps telling you the story right now, and I just told about it. Megan yesterday. I was telling her about it.
So when the thing, Commander, is it Freyberg? He's been on Joe Rogan, I think, and
also the Navy captain.
Yeah,
Navy,
and he talked about how it moved. The physics of the spaceship, I guess if you want to call that moving, was just obviously not from this Earth.
Right. Like we just don't have like anything that technologically advanced.
Yeah, and it was actively blocking their radar and just kind of going up and down like a tic-tac, I think is what he called it.
Right. And this thing just kind of appeared on top of the radio station. It was super bright. And then the movement was like, described like that. It was just like really fast and like diagonally up, and it just disappeared. But that's not the best part. I mean, we saw the whole thing with the lights. And I remember, I'll never forget, because we're eating dinner and back home, all the windows are always open because there's not a lot of people have AC. So you can hear everything. So we can literally hear like kids playing basketball in the court down below us, right? Because you can hear the footsteps and stuff. And all of a sudden, everything goes silent because everybody's looking at the light, right? So we're looking at the lights through our windows at the house, and then it disappears. Then the next day, it gets interesting. So the news show up to do a news story there. So they go up to the radio station building, and they're interviewing people. And the newscaster is talking about what you typically hear when people are describing, UFOs, right? It's something that they see in the sky, and there's usually no noise, and or the lights are blinking or not blinking, but they're basically the lights are blinking in a like abnormal way, right? Not a plane. So the camera looks up, and you can see the camera pointing at a plane, and the newscaster is like, "Oh yeah, that's a perfect example of a plane because you can see the flashing lights on the tail wing and so forth." And then all of a sudden, the camera guy spans really fast to something that he just saw, and it was a literal perfect example of a UFO on camera on the news at 6:00.
What?
The very next day, yeah. And I've been trying to find it online to share the article.
Can you not find it?
I'm
please find that.
Right,
please find that, and we will post it.
It was a very long time ago, though. I was a senior in high school, so this would have been like 99, 2000.
Dude, I've never met anyone or actually talked to anyone who actually had a full alien or first person alien story.
It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy.
So do you remember like when you first saw it, like were you getting goosebumps into it? Were you scared? Were you were you excited or were you like,
I mean, I think it was just one of those things where
it was just
kind of in shock because it's like all the news stories was Chupacabras, right?
Right.
So and is he from this planet? Is he not from this planet? And then that's happening right at the same time period. So yeah, I mean, I think shock will probably be the most accurate.
Yeah, I mean, I always wondered, like with your story, and then I hear about God, what's the guy who worked at Area 51? Bill, Ned Lazar, Bill Lazar, Bob Lazar, and his story, and it's just like talking about seeing spaceships and Element 115. And that's just like, man, if I ever had a first-hand experience of actually seeing somebody, and even Dan Aykroyd has an alien experience, and it's like, man, what the fuck? How would I feel? What would it be like? Like, is it going to be so surreal? I get goosebumps, or I'm going to be so shocked, and like you just said, that I would like piss myself, or what?
Ancient Aliens has a UFO captured on Puerto Rico. It's season 16. I shared the video, and it happened around 1996. So we'll see if that's the same thing.
1996. Okay.
It was. It was. This is before that. I mean, at that point, like cell phones were just becoming popular, right? Like I had a Motorola StarTAC, right? So
nice.
See, I was trying to think. My first cell phone was probably 99. I would have been 13. So maybe no. So I would have been more of 20. What was I? I think I got my first one when I was 15 or 16, about when I got my driver's license. So it was a Nokia something.
It was the brick?
It was like a single brick.
Dude, the Nokia brick, the strongest substance to man.
Yeah. You could drop that thing off whatever, and it was not break.
Well, yeah, I mean, if finding that online today will be very hard because this is before the
I was going to say that's before anything, YouTube or what do you Google video? Was Google even a thing in '96?
Oh man, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, we had computer at that time too.
I remember having playing Oregon Trail and then have some type of small type of email as far as.
Let's see here, Google. Oh God, Google came out September 4th, 1998. And we had Dogpile. Oh, that's still a thing.
When did MySpace come? Could you actually post that on MySpace?
No, that was after because I was in junior college when that came out.
Okay, I was trying to think. Well, if I had a video to share to the world in '96, how would I? Share that?
I remember like Facebook required you to have a
college.
A .edu.
Yeah, I do remember that part. It was like that was probably 06 or 05 for me. Because I was so excited. I got Facebook, bro. Because I was one of the last ones. Everyone else was forgetting. It was like, what do you have Facebook? I was like, what the fuck is Facebook?
It was. I think. I mean, all of my siblings remember. My parents remember. Obviously, remember. It's. And I think that if you find somebody else from my hometown during that time, they will probably tell you.
So why do you think they would be hovering at space in Puerto Rico?
I mean, I don't think so. I was talking to my girl last night, and I was telling her, and it's like, and I think that it's funny how now is the talk here, right, in the news here, but before that, talk about UFOs has been in local news, like throughout Latin America and the rest of the world.
Really?
As it happened for many, many, many years. So, I mean, you guys are just now publicly talking about it, right? Because of the Navy pilots talking about it. So, but whenever like I guess like a UFO like appearance or a sightings or whatever happen in other countries, right? They get interviewed and that gets aired. Here, you just happen to not really cover it in the news. There's too much other stuff going on, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think it's not only just the Navy pilots talking about it, but also in one of the stimulus packages, they actually, when I say they, the government, or whatever you want to call them, House delegates, I don't know what the senators. Anyway, they actually put in the stimulus package, you had 90 days to actually surface your information on UFOs as part of that one stimulus package.
To like report it?
Yeah, to actually share I don't know how much information or what type of information, but that was part of it. You had, I think it was, I want to say 3 months to say, hey, all right, some shit's going down. And that might be the spark of it. Like you said, is Fravor and obviously, I think it's Commander Fravor and Joe Rogan obviously talks about it all the fucking time. So, right. And I think that's what caused it more mainstream, obviously, in the U.S. It's like, hey.
Yeah, and I think, in a way, I maybe think about it, right? Like, I mean, back then, I'm struggling to find any news article, right, from that time period back home, right? Yeah. But nowadays, everybody access to information is way too easy. So if anything, if you think about it, right, the fact that the government is publicly acknowledging that now is a way to kind of get ahead of the curve, right? So
of course,
everybody has access to a cell phone and capture recordings, so rather than call them, I guess, like skeptics or crazy people recording UFO, it's too common now. So
yeah. Well, I mean, the narrative back in, I'm not going to say back in, but let's go way far back. And, if you believed in aliens or Bigfoot or anything like straight, just not of this world, you were like a hippie.
You're crazy.
You're drugs. You're crazy. Yeah. You're way off the line here.
And think about it. It was word of mouth, right? If you saw something before cell phones, like, I would have to trust you 100% to believe that out of your mouth.
Yeah, you just couldn't pull your cell phone. Let me Google some shit here.
Had you been drinking again, Shane?
Yeah, man. All right, I know you've been smoking a little bit, but I mean, and also now, a recent article I just saw was that a submarine may have actually saw something coming from the ocean, and that's where they think. When I say they, I guess the government or whoever you want to say. I always hate saying like they think or they say that. But anyway, yeah, they're actually living in the ocean. The aliens are in the ocean coming from there. And that's why you see them over oceans. And obviously, I think one of you said earlier, like obviously our planet's almost all of water. But
right.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. That's how they hide themselves. And So
I mean, it makes sense.
you go into
There's
the
a
deep
lot
sea, and there's stuff we'd never explored down there. And
I mean, there's something like I don't know what the statistical figure, but it's something like a pretty high percentage of the underwater is unexplored. So.
Yeah, I mean, once you go to a certain part, it's just complete pitch dark, right? So
Yeah, light doesn't. I mean, natural light doesn't go there. Beat the dog.
just chewing on his blanket for whatever. Go, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, John.
So it's there's no natural light other than the animals that give off their own bioluminescence, and chupacabras drain. I just want to say for the record, they drain the blood from goats, not half goat things. Sorry about that, Adam.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't just. Well, it was called the chupacabras too, but it wasn't just goats. But it was usually like farm animals, so like chickens.
Yeah.
And,
Why farm animals? Is that just? Was it meat or?
That's a good question though.
Yeah, I mean, why would a legend be? Because I thought, from what I've read, it just kind of just killed whatever came near it, or
it was mostly farm animals. I know, and it will be.
Wow. No, sorry.
Were we born you with the chupacabra?
No. I caught a yawn, but no, not the chupacabra. It was 80% is unmapped of the known ocean.
80%
is unmapped. Yeah,
that's ridiculously high. I would have never thought that high.
It's a big planet, man.
Yeah.
So
and then you get into depths that are so deep that subs can't even survive because otherwise they will collapse under the pressure. So we don't even have the technology to go.
It'll crush a steel pole.
Yeah,
like it'll taper the I guess any of the space available inside of like a steel girder and just crumple it. And
so that's saying that if there could be possible aliens, that they would have a technology that's stronger than steel or metal, like you're saying, that it would not crush if it lived a deeper depth.
I think more than like
Titanic, I guess.
Right. So I think if you think about it like this, right? If the closest star is a little bit less than a light year away from here, from our sun, so if they have the technology to travel that far, I'm pretty sure that same technology will probably allow them to explore.
Yeah, I mean, if you can move a ship of their size, completely that does not obey the laws of physics and go up and down into water, yeah, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Right.
But that's if it's out there. The truth is out there. It's wild. It's wild, man. You got me excited. Just like
I'm not,
especially when you were like, I'm getting goosebumps, man. I was like, I'm hyped.
It is. No,
yeah,
it
dude.
Is. It's
exciting.
I literally just retold this story to Megan last night, and I was showing her like, look, I'm literally getting goosebumps as I'm telling you because I'm remembering what it felt like, and how we all stopped what we were doing. It was, it was pretty interesting. Pretty cool stuff.
I mean, it's wild that there's another one of the most famous stories is Mars Hill, Bailey Mars. Y'all gonna have to Google that on me. It's one like they were in the 1950s and they both got abducted. Bailey Mars. I can't remember. All right. So anyway, but like they actually got abducted. So there's abduction stories, and they said that I think they returned one of the girl, not returned the father. I'm butchering this completely, so I'm sorry.
Barney and Betty Hill.
Barney and Betty, man, I was way up.
Okay.
So anyway, that was one of the most famous ones I've read, and it's just, ooh, man, it's got to be something to this, and then also there's a famous photo, and there's spaceships over the Capitol, and I think if you type in lights over the Capitol, I think it's like 1950s, 60s. And that's one of the most famous like occurrences. And like from then on, it just kind of blew my mind. It's like, okay, if you're posting a photo saying there's random lights over the Capitol that we don't know what these are from, and this is dating back towards the 60s and 70s, why are we not trying to look more into this?
I think it's didn't that guy that was interviewed in that 60 Minutes that used to work at the Pentagon? I think he was talking about the fact that, I mean, if you're some type of military official, and are there more I guess there are more important things happening closer to home that you're going to devote funds, right, to research and prepare for.
Yeah,
sure. So that that probably just went to the bottom of the pile as far as was critical to address at that point.
John, if you find that photo, tag it or send me the link so I can post that.
So I put Barney and Betty Hill, their wiki.
But there's another one. Just if you Google like lights over the Capitol, or it's
so the lights over Phoenix.
No, oh well, there is like light, not in Phoenix, but there is another one it might be Phoenix, or I thought it was Texas. But there's these random orbs that show up around Texas, and nobody can explain them.
UFO.
Yeah, DC UFO lights. It's something along those lines.
Well, it's the first. It's one of the time intelligent life was at the Capitol.
So. Yeah, it's literally over the Capitol, and you see a bunch of random lights above it. So. But yeah, there is like speaking of what you're talking about, Adam. There is some.
I caught it, John. I caught it. Don't worry.
Thank you.
There's some random orbs that are down there, and nobody can explain them, but they show up every night, and they kind of go into I think it's a figure 8 or circular pattern.
All right, hear me out.
Okay.
So, in the South, the American South, there's this thing called snipe hunting. Now, a snipe is a real bird, and it exists in places like Alaska. You can Google it. Snipes are a real bird, but they do not exist in the American South. And what you would do is people who are not from the area, they would be taken snipe hunting. And what you would do is you take this person and you'd say, okay, you're going to hold this sack. I'm going to walk off and I'm going to make some noise, and this bird's going to run at you and you're going to catch it in the sack. All right. This is very popular because before cell phones and stuff, people didn't have shit all to do. And what you would do is you would basically just leave someone in the middle of the woods with a sack in their hands and wait until they figured out, shit, I've been duped, and come home. And it's funny to do things like that, like little harmless pranks to people that aren't from an area, not familiar with it. I saw Bear Grylls once. This guy had just slaughtered a goat, and he was getting ready to eat, and he goes, you should eat this. This is a delicacy. And he hands him one of the goat's testicles. And Bear's like, I don't want it. He's like, no, it's great honor. You got to eat this. And you actually, if you watch that scene, the guys in the background, they got grins, and not the sort of grin of like, oh, we're honoring this guy. Like, this dude's getting ready to eat raw goat nut. And he does. And he's just like, oh. And the guy kind of giggles. And I was like, he just got to snipe hunting. And, I think that there would come a point in time that whether it's, aliens messing with us or just the locals messing with people, you have to take with a grain of salt. Sometimes folks just want to take you snipe hunting. They want to see how much it takes for you to go, shit, never mind. I get it now.
Well, how big is a snipe? I mean, I've never heard of it.
I just looked them up. They're not that big.
Okay.
A pigeon, yeah.
I was like, what are we looking at here?
I got curious about the bird, so I looked it up.
That's what I was saying. I've never heard of a snipe.
I'm Googling it also. And I'll put that in the link as well. But
for sure,
again, they're not local to the area, but the moral of the story is that, like, you see these lights going on, and it's the idea of aliens coming every day to a single location and just demonstrating these lights. I'm like, that seems a little far fetched. Like, somebody would eventually go, hey, it's gonna be here. Set up some shit and we'll look at it. It's those are the sorts of stories that don't hold water, but in my opinion, now the ones where it's like everyone sees this certain sighting one time at a very clearly visible area and then it just disappears but it doesn't come back, I think that makes more sense. Because if I was an alien, I wouldn't be like, you know what? It's 8 o'clock. I'm gonna watch my favorite episode of Dumbass Texans watching me float in the sky.
Well, do you have any perspectives on what, as far as, we talked about TVs and movies a little bit tonight, but what an alien might look like? Is it the version of Alien versus Predator, the ones you see on Independence Day, or the ones from Mars Attacks?
I think it could be anything. There's a few great I'm a documentary geek, so there's a few great documentaries that tackle that exact subject, and they basically have a bunch of artists kind of design life based on a number of different factors from a particular planet. So how life here is like this, right? We're bipedals because of all of the ingredients in this planet just happens to be perfect for us to be the way that we are. But in another planet that had maybe stronger gravity, maybe we wouldn't be as tall, right? Maybe we'll be a bunch of three, like I guess what are the people from Lord of the Rings? Were the
dwarves?
Yeah, maybe they would be like a bunch of dwarves or hobbits because the gravity is so strong that we wouldn't grow past a certain threshold. Yeah. So I think it depends where they will come from. Sure.
Huh, interesting. Well, our boy Elon Musk is trying to invent that neurotransmitter, and where that everybody could talk without speaking. He would just read each other's thoughts, and that's the reason. Like, part of, I guess, another conspiracy is that, oh, well, maybe aliens are a future self of us, and that's why they have bigger heads, because they can absorb more information. They have slimmer bodies, and what you might see the one on South Park, for example. And that's the reason, they don't have to lift up anything. They all do it telekinetically.
Telekinesis.
Yeah, telekinesis. There we go. And so that's the reason that part of that conspiracy that's alive is that, that's the reason. It's just all about our brains, which
it could be. I mean, the name of the one of the series that I was referring to is called Alien Worlds. Check it out. It's actually pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, it's from Netflix, actually. One of those.
Nice. Alien Worlds. Wait, that's a video game. Hold up. Alien Worlds. So yeah. Wait, I don't want to actually go to the damn Netflix link. There we go. There's the wiki.
I like how we can live fact check stuff right here.
Yeah.
Why not?
That way people are like, fuck these guys. They don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah. There's but that's not the only series like that. But like to
there's
your
tons
point,
of them.
Right, to your point, and what would they look like? Would they look like Predator or fucking what's the name of the Avatar movie, like the blue people or whatever?
I think shit. Right. Good point. I forgot.
I think that what they will look like, it will greatly depend on the conditions of the planet that they come from. So.
And most of how we viewed aliens up until I think the more recent series, like what you're talking about, Adam, has been carbon-based life forms. Like, we're not even taking into account that non-carbon based life exists and how it even how it may or may not even be viewable. And you get to talking to the fun stuff like what creates matter, what is consciousness, what's the definition of life. Like, these are all big things, and the reason why I was a little skeptical. It's like, we have lights that show up every night. I'm like, I don't think that there would be a group that was so mentally capable of exploring time and space at that point, because you are moving vast distances in a time frame that like, either you're moving so fast, time's irrelevant, or you're living so long that they're not going to pitch tent in Texas and just hang out and have a good time.
Right. Like, it wouldn't be just random. And even then, like the fact that because of how we are, right, how we're shaped, we're gonna naturally like favor imagining things to be like anthropomorphic, and it could be not at all like that, right? There was a movie that actually depicted the aliens that were completely clear. And
clear?
No, they were completely like transparent.
I thought I read.
They were like made out of like gamma rays or something like that, like lights, like light photons. I can't remember the name of the movie though. It was actually one of the most unique.
Life, Dark Skies.
Is it like that? Is it that one?
So I don't know.
I thought there was one I watched called Going Clear, but I could be.
They were like made out of it's like pure energy, and they bend lights up to the naked eye. They look completely transparent, but then whenever they would touch, I guess the next victim in the movie, they would completely dissolve.
Oh wow!
It was actually pretty cool. One of the most unique, I guess, depictions of aliens in movies.
All right, so we've been going for about an hour and a half. So let's take this home real quick. And last thing I want to touch on, and John, the reason this is thought, you said it, because what creates consciousness. And what I've been kind of listening to and reading about lately is determinism versus free will. Oh. And I think we take it home on this one. So do you believe that, do you believe in free will? I guess is the question I'm asking. And John, if you want to go first, or Adam, if you want to go first.
I think that...
Or if you don't want to talk about it at all, your choice.
I mean, I think that at a certain point you have to believe in free will if you want to not resign yourself to this idea of it is what it is. But there's also how is it? Everything is energy and matter. Matter is neither created nor destroyed. And if you go with this theory, if there was a box of a certain size, and inside this box there's no gravity, there's no friction, there's no air, there's nothing, and there's a ball. And the ball is a bouncy ball, those little cheap shit bouncy balls, but it never loses energy and it's always able to bounce. Now you put the ball into the box, it starts bouncing, it's hitting off the walls, it's bouncing and it's rotating. Now, at a certain point, and it's that same theory of 10,000 monkeys typing on typewriters at the same time, given enough time transpires, they would write all of the collective works of Shakespeare randomly by happenstance. So similar with this box and the ball, as the ball's traveling around, it's hitting random trajectories, it's going at a certain rate, speed, it's not losing or gaining energy. At some point in time, the ball may start traveling the exact same path for a certain length of time, and it may deviate from that. So if the universe is a fixed size, matter is neither created nor destroyed, everything eventually, if you remove time from the equation, happens again, happens multiple times, happens in the same way, happens in slightly different ways, and things like that. So that is probably the best argument I've heard for, free will is simply the illusion of those that cannot experience time in its entirety. But at the same time, I like to think that I can be a master of my own destiny, and that's what I think matters. And that's my
I like
stick,
that,
and I'm sticking
but
to it.
it's just I like that because I'm going back and forth with it, and I'm not pro one side or the other. But when you said create consciousness, it's like, okay, what created that conscious? What created that thought that I just had? Was it something as far as genetics, as far as my parents or my environment that we've been talking about? I don't know where I was going with that, but what created that spark of my thought? Was it because of something that just determined me to have that thought, or was it just because, oh yeah, I wanted to go do a podcast with John and Adam tonight, so that's what I went and did?
Well, I think it's determining because we said we'd join you. So,
I mean, in that essence, yeah. Adam, do you have any insight, or you want to speak about it?
I was actually looking at the name of the movie. It's called Darkest Hour, by the way.
Okay,
Darkest Hour.
Yeah. So what was the question again? Even though
basically we were just talking about, do you believe in determinism versus free will, or if do we all have a predetermined, kind of like the Matrix? Are we living in a simulation? And
I think it could be a little bit. I think it'll be like a little bit of column A, right, and a little bit of column B for sure. I think there's
I'm kind of in the middle too. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, man, wait, that does make sense. Wait, your side does make sense too. Now, where do I go? So
and I don't think I could lean more one way or the other. I mean, I think are there factors that would drive certain decisions or behaviors, based on circumstances and surroundings? Sure. Do you have the power to follow those? Sure. Right. So
yeah,
I mean, that's a hard one. I don't think I could.
Yeah, it's really tough, and that's why I kind of wanted to bring it up, kind of close it out with. Is just that you talked about you grew up in Puerto Rico, you went to the military, whereas I grew up in Southwest Virginia, and obviously just for some random reason, John and I met each other. Which he grew up in, was it Bristol, Tennessee? I know it was Tennessee or Kingsport.
In a cave in Tennessee.
Okay, that area. I know it was like Tri-Cities.
I was born in a cave by an old mama lion. Ain't no high-tone woman make me walk the line. I think that's how that song goes. So
was something just predetermined for all of us just to come together and do something, or was it just free will and it just, hey, I just chose to do something randomly, and kind of how we said earlier, maybe fate just brought it here, or what? Or was I just predetermined for this to happen, or what? I don't know. I go back. I'm on the fence. Chicken or the egg, So
yeah, that's a hard one to pick a side. I think I'm comfortably straddling that one in the middle.
Okay. Well, I say
chicken came first, by the way. just as FYI, because like through evolution, there was the chicken, and then the chicken crafted the first egg. So. Because I Googled that one because I'm like, really? We haven't figured that shit out yet. And it was like, for there to have been an egg, there was a chicken. But the chicken evolved the ability to have eggs. So the chicken came first, man.
Did something evolve into a chicken?
Yeah.
What?
Dinosaurs.
I don't know.
A small dinosaur?
I mean, quite literally. Yeah.
Jurassic Park.
Chicken came first.
Somebody
man.
took the blood out of a mosquito. And
It's such a terrible movie with so many good life lessons.
no.
It's like,
Come on, if you don't think the greatest
open
line ever in a movie is "Hold on to your butts," it's something terrible. Then
Wait, that was a quote from Jurassic Park?
yeah, Samuel L. Jackson says it as he's doing something.
Yeah.
Hold on to your butts.
The best hacker in history. That was
Samuel L.
Magic
Jackson.
word. I went to the theaters to watch that movie.
Yeah, you talked about it like almost in the beginning of this podcast, and all of a sudden, all that just hit me randomly. Just fuck, I ain't watched that movie in years, and it all came back. So
it aged pretty well, I think. So
I think it would still hold up.
yeah, I had my sons, both of my kids, watch it actually.
Nice. What did they think of it? Were they scared or?
I think it was a little bit scarier than the modern Jurassic Park is shown. At least the first one.
Oh, so the ones with Chris Pratt?
Yeah.
So
like the second one with Chris Pratt was far more horror than the first one.
Ah.
But yeah,
I never thought about it that way. Interesting. Guess you don't look at it that way as when you don't have kids or anything. So.
Yeah.
Well, it's survival horror at its finest. Using, afterwards came like the zombie resurgence, the Resident Evils and stuff like that. But Jurassic Park holds up because they use so much actual animatronics instead of CGI that it just looks superb. I mean, when that big ass T-Rex walks out, that's because some happy bastard and his team went and made a giant T-Rex.
yeah. It was.
that is good instead of using green screens and people in green costumes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
We had real Jeff Goldblum, and again, Samuel. Every film series that Samuel L. Jackson touches is a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah, he touches gold, man. Whatever he touches, it's gold, dude.
Yeah.
Marvel, Star Wars, Jurassic Park. He's not in the rest of them, but he touches it, and it's like magic.
Yeah. Well, speaking of magic, let's take this home, boys. Before we go down some random roads and we end up here 5 hours later, so. John, Adam, anything y'all want to say before we say deuces? Later AF, as the kids say.
Usually I introduce my drink. I feel like I should at this point.
We didn't even talk about drinking at all.
We didn't talk about drinking.
Yeah.
We talk about drinking.
Usually that's at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah, so I'm having a Lafroig Lore because every time I get on this show, I'm either hungover or drinking Lafroig. But yeah, been sipping on that, taking it easy.
I was sipping on Maker's Mark. So, Adam, do you have anything?
No, John actually asked me earlier if I'm going to drink, and I'm usually a pretty avid stout and other kinds of beer drinker, but I've been drinking a Monster Energy drink and water. That's all I've had tonight. So.
Okay, dude staying hydrated. No big deal.
Yeah.
All right.
Picking up slack for me. Appreciate it, bro.
Hey, well, again, I appreciate you boys. Thank you for doing this. I think we had a great conversation. It was very inspiring, very mind-blowing, too, at the same time, as far as information security and our little alien talk. And I enjoyed this very much. So, again, we'll pick it up next time. We'll go down, like, on Bigfoot or something, and maybe even like I'll pick up my knowledge on Chupacabra and go down his history and see what's going on with that. So.
Yeah, now that I found out it's not just a Mexican goat slurper, which I originally thought that was the origin of the legend. It's good to know. And I linked the Chupacabra in there.
All right, good deal. So, all right, well, let's call it there. We'll take this one home. Again, thanks, and I'm going to say goodbye unless y'all have anything else to say. Y'all good?
We're good. Thank you for having me.
Okay. All right, we're out, folks. Thanks. Yep.